Hello, everybody, and welcome back to AGDQ. Redone. My name is Lizstar, and I'm your host. We're continuing on with the Sega Genesis block with Earthworm Jim with Athens. Hello, Athens.
Hey, what's up?
Nothing much. Ready for some good old wormy action. Uh, Go ahead and tell us about this game if you could.
So, it came out in 94 from a team that basically broke off Virgin Entertainment that did, like, Jungle Book, Cool Spot, a couple other sponsored games. And they wanted to just make the zaniest, wackiest game they possibly could. So, basically, everything is subversive, everything's non sequitur, nothing makes any sense.
I think they succeeded.
Yeah.
We're ready to go whenever you're ready to count me down.
Okay. 3, 2, 1, go.
Good luck.
Thank you. So the basic story is that suit you're wearing is effectively stolen. It lands on you when you're just a normal worm and turns you into a super worm, changes your DNA and everything. And so you immediately get a distress beacon from a princess and try and go rescue her, and that's the entire backstory. Along the way, you have a crow chasing after you called Psychro in a spacesuit and everything, and he is trying to hook you out of there to get the suit back to finish delivering it. And so this is the first stage you run away from him onto New Junk City. Normally you can just stand there and not jump over him a second time and be fine, but it looked like it wasn't going to quite make it. So here's the first boss, Chuck. The only thing to really speed up on here is when the trumpet drops. If you're shooting it as quickly as possible, only the crates can damage him. You can't shoot him or anything. So you basically want to make sure the trumpet drops at just the right spot to keep the crates coming out at the right speed. So right around here is where you want it to drop. And that's pretty much all there is to it. So there's not going to be too many differences to the original CGDQ run. There's a couple new skips which I'll mention throughout, but basically it's going to be pretty much the same. It's mostly execution. There's not much RNG in it. Yeah. So here's the first little mini break where you're going between planets racing Psychro to try and get there first. Named after the gameplay programmer Andy Astor. And so the deal with these is if you get 50 of those little blue bubbles that are fuel pods, you'll get a continue. The lightning bolt blue spheres are shields, which if there's too many sprites on screen just don't show up, but they'll still work. And the orange things are atomic accelerators. The more numerous orange things are the asteroids you're trying to avoid. And you're supposed to be going through a wormhole or something of the sort. I'll see if I can grab a continue. I don't think I have enough time left to get them, but I can get a next stage for a backup continue. You start with 1 on normal, none on difficult, and I think 3 on easy. Or practice as it's called here. Yeah, I'm not going to have enough to get them. And the next stage kind of shows off how eclectic the game is, if you haven't seen it. So there Jim goes with his last one's Pocket Rocket. So the next stage is Planet Heck. Which is pretty fitting. You can see the boss and the controller of an evil cat there in the background dancing around. And it's inhabited by mini demons, lawyers later on, as you would expect in a planet called Heck. And so this is where the kind of differences are. I believe that jump was in there, which skips a large portion of the stage. This one's new. Originally you would go through this gate. And there's a whip on the, like a hook on the floor that you can get, but now you can just do that and get to literally the end of the stage and save, I think it's like 2.5 minutes or so off of playing the full stage and over a minute off of the previous route. But there's like a snowman mini boss you would fight normally that gets skipped. Which you get skipped before with the whip through the floor. Because it takes forever. And here we have Evil himself, with the only bit of randomness in the game, the only RNG, is how quickly he fires here and how quickly he appears in the next section, where you have to deplete all 9 of his lives. It's possible for him to stand there or lick himself or whatever for upwards of 10 seconds in a row. There's no real way to control it. It's all movement based for the RNG manipulation. There's no consistent way to do it. It's just reseated every frame, basically. That should be enough to drop it. That wasn't too bad. And so since he can appear randomly, the strats generally just shoot into a corner and hope you hit him. Like that. The worst thing that can happen here is when he comes out too fast, surprisingly, right there. If he was directly above me, he would have hit me and made me lose 10% and some time.
Is it ever a possibility that you might run out of ammo? Because I can see you're definitely getting lower down in the bottom left there.
When you run out of ammo, the game has like a auto refill mechanic up to I think 100 or 200 shots, where it'll slowly auto refill. That's why I started shooting a little slower towards the end, is because yeah, you can definitely run out of ammo. It's not the worst if it happens, it's not as bad as you think, because you do get to fire a little bit and then it'll stop and he'll kind of step a little bit and then fire again if you're holding it down. But it's not ideal. But generally there's enough ammunition routed in to not make it happen. It's also one of the only spots in the game you actually need ammunition.
Really? That's interesting.
The whip is so much more effective than the gun. It's like not even funny. So you use the whip for pretty much everything, except for short bursts, and it's like you almost always have 1,000 shots, so you just never run out otherwise. That's the only really prolonged shooting that there isn't just ammo given to you. There is the mesh ball segment, but they give you ammo before and after, so it's not really a problem.
Gotcha.
So there's enough fuel pods just now. I got 53 right now, but once you hit 50, you'll get to continue. So you'll see the can of worms drop down at the end of this, just for a little bit of safety, just in case. Because for the new strat, you can retry it, but you have to use a continue to retry it. So if I have 0 lives when I get there, I might give it another try, because I have a spare continue. But we'll see. So we're coming up on the first kind of set of roadblock stages for most people down the tubes. There's not going to be anything different from before. This is just all execution.
I am very proud to say that I actually beat this stage before, but only once, and I don't ever want to do it again.
It's a difficult stage. The whole stage itself isn't too bad. Like you can see here, there's the cats that'll grab you, and they'll just hit you back into the other ones and cause a chain reaction to send you back to the start there. The big problem with it is the pod sections towards the end. There's one right here, but it's like just a really small one. There's one at the end with a lot of air nozzles to kind of get you more used to it. And then the next segment is just an entire, like, it's like the tube race. Like, you have to go through the entire thing. So I grab all the health. Fun fact, it saves time to jump consistently in the tube on SNES, but not on Genesis. Because it's smaller, so when you hit it, you bounce slightly quicker, but on this one you don't, and you lose a little bit of time. It's one of the weird quirks, because the SNES port came afterwards, and they basically just scaled the game down a little bit to fit the SNES resolution and ported the music over the program. And it couldn't compress images as well, which is why it's missing an entire stage. This is going pretty good. Right now I'm basically doing a strat that's referred to as airless, where there's 3 air nozzles there, but it's fastest to just miss all of them. Because they fill you up to 30 each time, so you don't want to have to run into them if you don't have to. and we're on to the next stage, even though it's part of the same stage. Same world and everything. So here's Tube Race, which is still just listed down the tubes here. But it's listed as Tube Race in the cheat code menu. So basically you just run through here, and not very long after getting to this little section here, you get into the pod, get 99 air, and it's just off to the races. This is the stage this is the first real roadblock for most people, once they get, like, the hang of the game.
Yep.
The pod doesn't control like you'd think. It controls quite literally like it's underwater, which is a good thing considering the stage, but it's still difficult to control. You'll notice it kind of keeps momentum. It moves weirdly, like how I moved it there. It didn't change direction at all. You have to move it a certain amount to kind of get it to move, and then when you do, it takes a delay. It's just, you have to get used to it, basically. But there is something that makes it easier. About 2/3 of the way through there's a hidden air nozzle that'll give you, I think, 50 air? 60 air? Something like that? I haven't tried it in a while, but it refills you up to a good amount towards the end, right when you would need it. So you can take it pretty slow up till here, and then right after this turnaround, there's a hidden air nozzle on the bottom left, right through an invisible wall there. Right there. Right where those two lights are. The fastest time I've ever gotten through here is 51 air remaining. Barely 52, but it switched over as I went in there. Let me go to the hidden thing. And there's the boss of the world, Bob the Goldfish. He can't do anything. You just shoot him and he falls off. If you go in there and see him, he just looks menacingly at you. And he's the one who controls all the cats in the stage. So the next stage is the first real serious stage, basically. The first one with, like, a run killer. It's not a problem. The bungee jumping stage. You can kill Major Mucus, your bungee jumping combatant, by the first drop at the end of it each time, but it's a very difficult thing to do. There's not a complete setup for it. It's not random or anything, but it's entirely execution based with no ways to really tell. And you have to do it, like, perfectly. You have to time everything just right. The first one's a pattern that you can kind of do because he doesn't move at all, so you can kind of hit him and watch where the background where he moves to. The second one is kind of a pattern from when he stops, but you still have to kind of wait just half a second and guess. But then they all have an audio cue, which is what's used on the third one. But it's like a half beat in between two notes of the song. Like, there's nothing, like, really definite that you can just go off of. So we'll see how this goes. This is the #1 run killer, even more than the, like, over a minute saving strat later on. That's 2-frame window. So there's a good round 1. Good round 2. Too early. So if you go too early, you go through him for whatever reason. And then you get to see the spin. The spin stays or wastes 15 seconds each time he does it. Each drop that you miss is, I think, 10 seconds. So, like right here, it's going to take a bit of extra time to go down there because he has to fall to the bottom to die. Ooh, nice. Okay, he's doing the spin glitch. He might move over enough? No. Okay, so this is one of the worst states he can be in. He's in a glitched out state right now, where he basically thinks he's still doing the spin animation, but he doesn't really have any parameters on how to chase you. So he's basically just going to tweak out in the center and be really hard to hit because he's not near a wall. He doesn't move up and down at full speed. So I just have to keep hitting him and hope I don't get bounced into anything while he does his thing. Let's see if I can get him to come over here a little bit. Because he does kind of track you, but you have to hope he gets close to the wall. Stuff like this is why I grab an extra continue. Because when he gets into a state like this, normally it's just a reset because it wastes so much time. There we go. So now his AI will be fixed. You can see how many hits it takes. It takes like 10 to 12 hits to get him to do it. But now he'll behave normally. So the strat for this is basically just at the top and the bottom, you want to just slam him. Not while you're going up, not while you're going down. If you slam him when he's going up or down, it'll end up losing time. Because he won't fall normally. But hey, at least you get to see one of the most unfortunate glitches in the game.
Oh, Nelly.
There's actually a comic that the creator of Earthworm Jim just came out with because Tallarico formed a company with all the original Jim employees and got the rights from Interplay to make a new Jim game, which is in development. But with the comic book he made, there was a making of book that has a lot of information about the game itself, and it shows a lot of the graphics stuff they did. Because if you look in the cheat menu, you can see like the entire RAM, the entire ROM, everything's used up almost completely for the just for the music, graphics, everything, and it goes into that. There's a lot of like dithering effects like you can see back there, which aren't effective because I'm playing RGB right now. But like, it goes into all of those. It goes into all like the little tiles they're reusing everywhere to save space. Also, normally there's a death warp that I would do here to save time, but I have no lives left, so I'm gonna not do it. And I'll just snag a life at some point later on to get me back to where I should be. Ooh, health is getting low. Oh well, I'll see to continue. Not the worst thing. Kind of sucks because there is a life you can get not too far from the start. The thing with Jim is there's not really any randomness or RNG anything in it, so it's a pretty unforgiving game to begin with, but during a run, it's like little mistakes add up. So right there I went for one of the 2 swing jumps in the game where when you're doing one of those whip swings, if it goes over a platform you can stand on a certain way, you can jump out of the end of the whip as if it was on the ground. And you can do it there and jump through the floor, which is a safe enough spot to do it. The other one is entirely unsafe. If you fail it, you lose, I think, 50 seconds. Something like that, 'cause you fall down like a quarter of the level. So that's the only one you'll see me attempt. The stage also has the only really useful chain jump. When you're on one of those chains you're swinging on, if you jump the frame you fall off of it, you can just jump straight up into the air, as if you would just jump straight up off on the ground. And doing that can get you through a ceiling also. So this section right here is the most, this whole mesh ball section is like the holy grail skip of the game. It would save multiple minutes if it was a way to found to skip it. The closest thing we found is there's 2 kind of promising leads. One is that there isn't really a speed cap as long as you're in the air, and there's a slide that doesn't count as ground near the area. And so there's kind of the guess maybe you can use the slide to get enough speed. But it'd be probably a task only kind of thing to consistently do it. The other one is to do a moon jump, which is like a kind of a glitch jump, where if you're going up in a certain way for your jump, under very specific circumstances, it'll just keep your upward momentum forever. But neither have found any real-time elements. So here's the naked worm section. You get sucked out of the suit and have to go back and get it. You can just run back and grab it here. The next one, you have to wait for it to get past a certain point. So you can grab all the health while you're doing it. So we'll grab a bunch of life. That should be good. Kill the brain there. There's a mega atomic energy up there that you can get if your health gets low here. I never do, unless I'm really low, because there's more just after this point. Uh-oh. But right there is the other chain jump. I didn't get it. Grab some of this to make sure I have enough to make it through here without dying. Okay. Just to be safe, I'll shoot these brains here. And then grab the Mega Atomic, which will get me up to 75% more health. And I'll be fine now. Because there's 2 of those coming up. So as long as you can live, you can basically make it to the rest of the stage. The important part is from this point to the end of the stage. Because the next stage, if I get the one of the new tricks, the Peter despawn, I'm going to just be running through the entire stage, and I am going to need like as much health as I can get. It's rare to enter there with like, you know, any less than, or any more than like 70 to 80% though. And here's the boss, the robot chicken. Just loop him there and then do the same thing here. So he has kind of a pattern you can get him into. If you just loop around there, he'll just stick in one place. Because he kind of follows towards you, so you want to just manipulate his position and not get hit. There we go. So that's not too bad. So the next stage is the one where we're going to try and get the first major new strat. It's a 2-frame window for a 1-frame trick that nobody understands how it works. Also, fun fact, the booster I got there is not normally intended to be gotten by Jim. If you grab the very first booster as late as possible and then manipulate Psychro's position, you can get it. And even then, it's still a very rare chance of getting it, but that was cool that it got in here. But so the next trick, I'll whip at the start and just do a jump, and it'll look random, and it's basically a setup to try and despawn the escort quest person, Peter Puppy. So when he gets grabbed by a tentacle or falls in a pit or whatever, he turns into a monster, bites you, and takes you back to the previous checkpoint that he walks past, not in the air. Which is important. If I don't fail, you'll see me drop him randomly. But if he gets grabbed by a tentacle, there is a 1-frame window where if you despawn that tentacle in any way, he doesn't go through a state change. It doesn't change, it doesn't explode, it doesn't respawn him back in. It just despawns him from the world but hasn't changed state, so it'll despawn also. That might have worked. We'll see. That looked right. It did. Okay, cool. So, this is the first time in I think any GDQ event where the Peter despawn's been done, because my run I did originally of it in one of the older SGDQs didn't have it either. So, this is as nice as it looks and everything, it is kind of harrowing, because if you die, Peter can come back. Like, it'll start on you back at the start, Peter will be back, everything. So, you have to make sure not to die at all. But yeah, normally you would just be whipping him along, juggling him to keep his speed up, because Peter moves faster in the air than on the ground. But you don't have to do any of that with the despawn. It saves about optimal play with and without the despawn. Getting the despawn saves minimum 45 seconds. Unless you just like jump through the tentacles before they spawn in and stuff. Oh, great. So this is what the UFOs do, is they try and just lock you up like that. With the intention of when you're carrying Peter along, it'll make it to where you can't save him if he falls into a pit or something. But for a speedrun, it's just wasted time. So they're doubly frustrating. So here's kind of the thing, though, is you would think that if you despawn him, how do you finish the stage if it's an escort quest? But the thing is, for whatever reason, the programmers put a just end the stage trigger at the very end of the stage, even though it's an escort quest. I've always assumed it's so you don't jump off this cliff here and die while he's walking into the doghouse or something. But for whatever reason, it just does that. And the UFOs chase you away. So we'll see how this run does compared to the old one. I have no idea what Breakdown's time was, but... Or actually, whoever run it, might have been fire.
Breakdown's time was... I have it on screen, 35 minutes.
Okay. So this should beat that pretty handily. By a minute or two, we'll see.
I mean, the run seems like it's going pretty great so far.
It's going pretty good, yeah. The only real hang-up so far has been the It's Not a Problem round 3. Round 1 and 2 went great.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next stage, though, if you've only played the SNES one, this will be a new stage to you. Intestinal Distress, the Genesis exclusive stage. And it's an interesting stage for those who haven't seen it. It's a difficult stage. It's the only stage where there are enemies that do 13% damage, which is weird.
You'd think that would be heck?
You would think so, yeah. But I don't know. It's probably because heck is so early. They didn't want to do something like that. But it's not even... Oh, go on.
No, I just said that makes sense. Go ahead.
Yeah. It's not even every enemy, though, is the weird part. It's only 2 types of enemies. The floating fish do normal damage. The little orb things that are floating around do normal damage. Those spike wheels and these bouncing yellow ball things do 13%. Nothing else does. It's odd.
Apparently the original run for Earthworm Jim, the footage is lost, so we don't actually know the proper time for it. So chances are you'll still get ahead of it, though.
Yeah, that's fine.
Whatever it might have been.
I know the original record Breakdown had for years with a 33:16, so we'll see if I beat that. So right there is the other whip jump in the game, the other swing jump, where you can jump through a ceiling with the whip thing. But you can see right there, it's like over a big chasm. If you fail it, it is just, you fall down to one of the previous sections of the stage and lose an insane amount of time. But yeah, you can see right there, I jumped from 60 to 57. It's just odd. So we're just going to jump over the wall, it's a new strat there, and try and get the quick kill on Dr. Wadnam. There we go. The whip is, I think, 3 whips and a shot will kill him, but for some reason 2 plasmas and a shot does it. So, that's the one you go with. The reason I wasted 2 plasmas out of the 4 I got is just specifically to have 2, because it's actually faster to use the gun. Because the plasmas, you can't sweep them at all. They just fire in whatever direction you aim and kind of freeze you for a second. So you want to hit the 2 diagonal plasmas and then just shoot him and wherever, because he can jump far or short after that second jump. So you want to be able to just kind of sweep the gun over him and have that last hit connect. And then here comes the final 2 sets of stages. 1 stage with 2 sections, the Descent and Buttville. The Descent is always a fun stage with good music and everything. It looks very nerve-wracking. With practice, it's not nearly as bad as it looks. But it's pretty punishing, spikes you 40% in the last stage. So, getting hit is not good. So I'm just gonna go for the quick drop. And see how much I can go through it. And then Buttville, you want to get 2 plasmas at the start and just carry them the whole way through for the mini boss at the end. Ooh, oh, okay. We're good. Yeah, like I was thinking about ammo earlier, I have just the max right now, and I've probably had it forever. It's just not as good as the whip for the most part. Here's the first major skip in Buttville. But you can see my health just dropped like a rock from that. Thankfully you only get hit once. There's the continue you skip. Because it's not really needed and it's almost easier to get the plasma at the start. So you can go through here without actually triggering those worms at all. But the thing is, they're instant kill if they hit you. If you're even just standing on the basketball at all, anything, instant kill. Time is coming up shortly. So I'm just playing it safe for these guys. So here's what the plasma's for. Nice. So what you're supposed to do is in the corner fire diagonally and not get carried to the left and miss. But it just instantly kills the bud and saves 5 or 6 seconds. And there's the Genesis exclusive strat time, by the way. The Genesis exclusive one-hit kill on the Queen. And that's that.
GG. I would have said GG a second ago, but I was sneezing right as time ended.
That's fine.
Great job.
What was the time?
Time was 31:49.
That's good. That's a good
Yeah,
time.
that's really good. Someone said they think that Breakdown's time was actually like a 33:30-ish kind of deal.
He had a time on YouTube that was around then. That was his record time for a while, or what was considered the record time. So I could see something in that range, yeah.
Well, you beat it. Great job.
Yeah, thank you.
Anything else you'd like to let us know about this game or you?
Not really. The credit sequence, you can see the princess had a happy ending with the cow from the start that you launch. It's about to get a little bit better for her. Yeah, there we go. And then Jim gets a happy ending, though. I mean, look at that. He's heading down to the pawn shop real quick. And that's the ending.
GG. Great ending. What a way to end this experience, I think the best way to call it.
Yeah.
Thank you again to Athens for the incredible Earthworm gym run.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Of course. Go ahead and give them a follow. Next up, we have Old Clav to start off our Sonic block. We got Sonic 1, 2, and 3 and Knuckles coming up for you in the next little bit. So don't go anywhere, friends. We'll be right back.